Hello, fucking hello, everyone. Episode 11. Can you believe it? We made it through episode 10. I'm so excited. Hi. Shannon is equally as excited. Can you hear it in her voice?
I am so excited. I wish I could be more deadpan.
No, but for real. Okay, let's get serious for a sec. I am grateful that people people in general, the people that listen to us, do listen to us. That is very nice. Thank you very much to everyone who's downloaded our episodes also. Thank you very much. I know that 10 episodes doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't know. It's felt like a good journey, and unbeknownst to you guys, due to the quality of this podcast, we actually do put effort into this. We try to put effort into this. We try to put our brains together every week to bring something good. So I am just grateful that we've made it this far, and that people seem to care and listen and give us suggestions and like DM us. That's always really sweet. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm appreciative. I don't know how much effort I put in, but
You have such a personality, Shannon. You're the one who draws the audience. Are you kidding?
What? No, I don't. I remember last episode, you're like, so how are you doing? I was like, oh, I don't know. And today I woke up at 4 p.m.
I listened to that today, and I love the first 30 seconds because you're like, nothing. And I'm like, your life is boring. And you're like, yeah, what should I do? And I'm like, jump off a cliff.
Honestly, at this point, I might. Just in my suffering.
Not so you know, Shannon and I are best friends. Now, today, I don't know what to classify this under. I guess we're talking about diabolical stuff.
Maybe like sacred text, maybe?
Sacred text. Okay, so you can specify sacred text.
Yeah.
Mine's technically also a sacred text, so sure, we can go with that.
Oh, I actually, I could not find
What?
anything on my subject because I couldn't figure out what it was called. Like, I looked for a long time. And so I
my
just changed
God.
it. Like, I'm doing something else, but I think you'll like it.
Well, that's good because usually, actually, I don't know what you're talking about, and that usually works
Yeah.
out pretty well because I'm like surprised as we're recording, so that's pretty good. So we'll see. I'll start today. Hello, everyone. I'm talking to you guys about the Codex Gigas. Shannon, have you heard about this at all?
I have not, actually. I'm excited.
Okay. So the Codex Gigas in English, the literal translation is giant book. So you're not very creative. Sounds spookier in Latin. The Codex Gigas is the largest medieval illuminated manuscript in the world. So she's big, okay? This thing is 36 inches in length. So that means height. So it is 36 inches. No, sorry, long. It's 36 inches long. It's 20 inches wide and 22. What's that? 22 centimeters. That's like 8.6 inches thick. So it's big.
How big is the font?
It's kind of big, but not very because they just
Okay.
it has a lot of stuff written on it. Really, that's
Okay.
what it is. It's the whole Bible, in like I guess big-ish font, plus a couple other books, plus what we're gonna be talking about today, a portrait of the devil that spans 2
Whoa.
pages.
Ooh.
So she's full of stuff. Again, this is technically a biblical manuscript, so it's a Bible that someone wrote by hand. It is from the 14th century. And why are we talking about this? Why is it interesting? Why is it spooky? Hello, welcome to Scary Talk. It's because the Codex Gigas is also known as the Devil's Bible. Why? Well, you ask. It's because actually I think I should go into, because this is more technical stuff, this article that I'm reading from. I should go more into the legend portion to get you guys caught up with why this is spooky. So long story short, this thing is 310 pages. It is thick. I guess it does have bigger font than I thought, because that 310 pages is not that much. So so also, even though like so big, so many pages, there's actually pages missing from this book. There are about 10 pages missing, and archivists have noted that these pages were intentionally cut from the binding of the book. It's not like they fell off throughout the years. They can see it by like the markings from where the pages used to be. And why, you ask? Well, because according to legend, these pages contain information that was deemed far too dangerous for humanity to know about them. The alternative legend is that someone stole these pages for an evil purpose. And the reason they could use these pages for an evil purpose is because this Bible is allegedly tainted with the devil's
Ooh.
hand. And that is because the Bible, this Codex Gigas, was, according to legend, written in one night by a monk called Herman the Recluse in a monastery in Czech Republic. Again, back in actually, it was the 15th century, I recall now. So the 15th century Czech Republic, this guy allegedly wrote this book in one night. The one night part is obviously, I don't believe that. But this thing is huge, and the manuscript is like so well done and so detailed that archivists and historians are, for the longest time, thought that many people had worked on it. But now, as new studies on it are coming out, now the theory is that it actually was worked on by one single person. However, the problem with that is that in order for one person to complete that work, because it's so big and so detailed in its drawings and in its text, it would take that person around 25 years of work. Um, yeah, so there was like one person quoted, one historian that spoke about it, that said that, what was it? He said something along the lines of, this author clearly must have been possessed by something in order to create such a masterwork,
Wow.
because it's so extensive, basically. And I kind of have to agree. I guess I'm going all over the place with this, like, as far as the chronology of the legend. But long story short, there was this monk, right? According to legend, this monk, Herman the Recluse,
Hmm.
he had broken the monastery's rules that he lived in, and he was going to get kicked out unless he produced some kind of extraordinary work in one night. And legend goes, he wasn't able to do that, so he asked for the devil's help. The devil helped him in exchange for his soul. Uh, not a great deal. By the way, everyone, that's
Wow.
never a good deal. Never take that. If the devil ever offers you anything in exchange for your soul, Shannon, we already know you already traded, so you don't get to talk.
I think there's some things worth trading for. I'm about to write Netflix right
So,
now and be like, hey, if you don't give me 4 more seasons of the OA, I'm gonna sell my soul.
so again, this guy was told, basically, you have to write this, a masterpiece in one night, or we'll kick you out. And according to legend, he made a pact with Lucifer in order to be able to finish it in one night. Apparently, like, the devil's hand was heavily involved in it. It was basically really like the devil that wrote all of it, according to legend. And this thing is believed to cause illness to anyone that comes into contact with it. However, people are still, which I found this interesting, the article is like, people are still lining up to see it in its current home of the National Library in Stockholm. So people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I would not go near it. You know me, I'm superstitious, like, to the extreme. But yeah, it's in display in Sweden, so you can go see it up close. And again, this thing is huge. The book is made out of animal skin, which sounds very
Oh.
creepy, but actually was pretty, like, standard at the time.
Okay.
Like, animal skin, like, covers are called vellum. It's basically another word for, like, leather, but for books, like for book binding. So again, made from animal skin. It takes 2 people to open, and it also contains text on exorcism, and has like magical formulas. And the crux of this is it contains a picture of the heavenly city, so
Hmm.
heaven, but then, like, it's juxtaposed on the other side of that spread with, like, this page big sorry, this, like, page wide picture of the devil, this illustration, this hand-drawn illustration that's as big as the whole page, of the devil, like, kind of like crouching down and with its hands up, and it has a tail and a split tongue, and it looks terrifying, and it's all in color. I know.
Can you imagine? Some guy asks you to help write him a book, and he's like, I want a selfie in here. I want you to draw me real nice, all right? It's you crouching
Uh,
with your hands up.
actually, I forgot to say this. There are conflicting reports on when this was actually written. People say, which is I guess why I got confused in the beginning, because there's one account that
Oh,
says that it was written in 1295, so it gives you even the specific year. But then there's the more widely accepted account that it was actually written sometime in the mid 15th century. So we're not sure, but we are sure that it is real. Like it is a real old book, because you know how there's a lot of like fake old books or old whatever. It's like
yeah.
what is it? There are people who claim that, so if you know H.P. Lovecraft, I mean, you know, because you study literature, but to the audience, he was this like horror writer in last century, and he referenced this book called The Necromance in a lot of his works, and it was basically like a book on how to raise the dead. And people, since he died, have like basically made a necromance, but it is like obviously fake, and people know that. But like there's people who don't know that, who like fall for that, and there are people who are actively selling those kinds of that kind of like gullible person a copy of the necromance that they claim is real, and they claim is like a real antique. And it's just like it's kind of weird. I mean, it's not, it is kind of the customer's fault for
Yeah.
like believing that, but like in all honesty, I've fallen for stupider shit. So
Right.
yeah,
I do have a question. So
yes,
you said in the Codex Gigas, there's like information on exorcism. Why?
yes.
What does the devil have to gain for giving that information out? Like, does he want his buddies to get caught?
I asked myself the same thing. I wonder if the information on it is like erroneous. What if it's like information that actually makes it so that the person that it's being like exercised on like gets more possessed? um, because I mean, yeah, like I don't know. But the real more technical answer is like a lot of bibles don't contain this kind of stuff, but this is an old bible, I guess. Bible manuscripts back then still contained like texts on exorcism, like today's testaments that are just like, you know, like published anywhere in the world obviously
Yeah.
don't contain that. They just contain like the standard chapters of the old and the new. But I don't know, back then was different times. So anyway, this thing again, it is huge, and it took, according to like theory initially, like a bunch of manuscript experts to make it. But now there's evidence that it was one person who did it, and that person was the devil. um yeah.
That's
um
why it's so big. It's full of secrets.
yes. um Oh, I forgot actually. I got that wrong. The monk was gonna be killed if he didn't like write a manuscript of the Bible in one night. He wasn't gonna be
um,
kicked out because he broke his vows. I remember now. Yeah, he broke his vows, and so the monastery was like, "We're killing you," and he was like, "No, I don't want to die." The devil was like, "Yo, you need help." He was like, "Yes, they wrote this thing." So
oh, a monastery
um,
wants to kill a monk? They are not the type of people I thought they were.
I know, I'm shook too. Anyway, so this thing is scary and whatnot. Now, there's one person who wrote a book about this. His name is Luke Gracias. That's his last name. And he wrote a book called The Devil's Prayer in 2016. It's a work of fiction. And in this book, the titular prayer, is actually something that is like so. Okay, in the book, the pages that are missing from the Codex Gigas are found, and it is discovered that the reason they were like hidden away by the church is because they contained the Devil's Prayer, and the Devil's Prayer brings forth the apocalypse. So there's that. Now, I love this. I love that. Like that is so spooky. Can you imagine? Thoughts?
But you said it was a work of fiction, right?
Yeah, it is a work of fiction, but like I don't know what if it's real. Like what if this kind of
What if, like, E.L. James's work is real? Like,
I
what
know.
if...
No, okay. In all in all fairness, like the pages are missing, and we don't know why. I mean, there's a very boring explanation for it, which is that most likely the pages that were missing laid out the monastery's rules, and for some reason the monastery, when this was like put on display, didn't want the general public like knowing the monastery rule specifics. I don't know why they would put it on display after this guy did it. I mean, but I guess it does make sense. they weren't just gonna let his work go to waste. But two, that's not the only theory about those pages. Again, like I mentioned earlier, there's also the theory that someone stole them for some evil purpose. So maybe they had some kind of incantation
Mm-hmm.
on them. And three, which is my personal favorite, the theory that I just made up, which is that Luke's book is real. And the explanation is that those pages contain a curse that brings forth the apocalypse. So come at me.
What if they were just like a huge troll and like he left those 10 pages blank and then just cut them out deliberately so people go crazy?
Possible. I just feel like that's unlikely. Also, okay, I forgot to mention about theory number one. That theory also comes with a caveat, which is that this book was fucking huge. The font wasn't like very big, and so writing the monastery's rules would have taken at most 2 pages, according to historians. But there's 10 pages missing, so it's not a it's not a like a cover all kind of explanation, but it is what most people go with because I mean, it just sounds like earthly as opposed to it contains an incantation to, I don't know, summon the devil, bring forth the apocalypse, fucking like bring back the Spice Girls. I don't know.
Bring back the Spice
So
Girls.
honestly, they're on tour right now. Are you gonna go see them?
No, I don't have money.
Oh my god, wait, total fucking, I'm sorry, total side note. I'll make it super duper short. Mel B was talking, oh my god, she was on, what's this guy's show? He's like a British television personality. He was a judge on like the British X Factor or Britain's Got Talent or something. Piers something. Piers
Brosnan?
yes, something like
Yeah.
that. You know who I'm talking about, that guy. So she went on her show recently and said that she had lesbian sex with one of the Spice Girls back in the 90s.
Ooh,
I know.
sucky.
It was one of the two blonde ones, not Posh Spice. So the other one, I don't remember her name. But anyway, yeah, can you believe that?
Wow, okay. This
I
is
watched
more
Wendy
interesting
Williams.
than the devil.
What can I say?
Let's change our podcast. Just kidding.
Anyway, so
Okay.
pages are missing. Who knows what happened?
I have a theory. I think, in all seriousness, I bet it had to do with raising the dead, because I feel like that's the one thing people actually want to happen, not necessarily to bring upon the end of the world, but I can see someone stealing it for that.
Yeah, I mean, would you use it, Shannon?
No, I don't know any dead people.
Yourself?
I'm dead inside. I'm not physically.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the Codex Gigas. Now, I wanted to ask you something. So, what are your thoughts on, really though, on selling your soul to the devil?
Like in a serious, like if the devil walked up to me right now and was like, "I want your soul."
I mean, not necessarily to you, but like, I mean, sure, yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm gonna answer me first. No, I wouldn't do it. I don't know if that's the question you're asking exactly. I wouldn't do it because, like, I don't think there's anything I want badly enough in this life.
Okay.
So,
well,
I mean, like I said, I would really, really like to see more of the OA, but that's more up to Netflix execs than the devil, so...
I do the same thing. So, do you think it's real? I guess is what I'm asking. Do you think like all these accounts throughout history?
Not.
Really?
No, I don't believe in the devil.
Oh, I mean, you have said that before. That's true. I tend to forget. I guess I was just asking because I know that you've read about witches, and that's a very common thread.
If I believe in God, which I do, I should probably believe that Lucifer exists or whatever. Yeah, but I don't think that he's coming down here making deals. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, I think that's stupid. Like, if you really, I don't know, it's fine. Like, I don't see him like waiting like with a pitchfork, being like, "Yo."
I mean, do you think that God comes down and does miracles here?
No, absolutely not.
You think he's too busy?
I don't think that. I think my understanding of spirituality is very different from the mainstream, where I'm like, just because there's a God doesn't mean he gives a crap about you. Like there's billions and billions of people on the planet. Like, why would he take time out of his day to do a
Wait, so do you believe in the Christian God, or do you believe in, because what it sounds like to me is you just believe in some kind of like monotheistic like entity that is like big and up there, but you're not really giving it a personality?
I believe in both. I believe that Jesus was real and God just how happens to be a monotheistic God who doesn't give a fuck. Like I think it's mutually exclusive. Like he already did his thing back then. Like now we're done. Now we're fine. Chill out, guys.
mean, he does seem pretty cruel at times in the Old Testament. Pretty cruel.
Yeah.
He did flood the whole fucking world. So
right,
that.
But then Jesus came down. Now it's all over. It's done.
Yeah. Jesus is like the chill. It's like New Testament chill. We're in the 2000s now. Like that's what it feels like. And he was like God was like the angry dad. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was like I don't know, like punishment and like fuck. And Jesus was like no, like love and peace and chill. And like that's how you teach the masses. Interesting. Now, do you think that? That's interesting. Never mind. I'm gonna have to rephrase that. So let me write this down. I was gonna go into this whole thing, but okay. I'll do it anyway. Okay, so I know you don't believe in the devil. Got it. But if you did believe in the devil, do you think that he could be summoned by your average Joe through an incantation?
If we're saying he's real, then why not? I don't see, like, that's not even the craziest thing, you know?
Well, because you're saying that you do believe God is real, but that he doesn't concern himself with mundane aspects of life. So if the devil was real...
Right, but you told me to forget everything I
believe. Nah, okay, that's fair. I don't know what I believe, to be completely honest. And I've obviously thought about this long and hard. But I am always split. Like, I know that I believe that, like we said in episode 1, mega throwback, by the way, that exorcisms are real. Some of them, and kind of far and few in between. You know, there's a lot of accounts, but but some of them can be kind of explained away with, you know, logic, or maybe this person was mentally ill, whatever. But there are some that are just so extraordinary that I have like nothing to say besides, yeah, like I believe that was a real exorcism. And if I believe that, like by proxy, I have to believe that something possessed that person. And like if I'm gonna go with one thing, probably the devil,
right.
Specifically the Christian devil. And so because I believe,
why?
What?
Why specifically that devil, though?
I mean, just because I guess we talk about it on episode 1 also, because when like the priests, you know, try to exorcise the demon out of this person, they have religious iconography, like Christian religious iconography that they use to be like, you know, like get out of this body, and they have like a cross in their hand. I do remember saying that maybe that cross just represents good for our culture, but like other things could be just as powerful in other cultures. Like maybe evil doesn't have a, you know what I mean, like a religious denomination. But I don't know if I like totally believe that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm conflicted.
Well, what about if we're saying like the devil is just like we don't understand what kind of evil it is? It's not necessarily Christian or anything else. It's just a different kind altogether that we don't know about. So why would it have a denomination? You know what I mean?
It could be. I guess the reason for my inner conflict is just that I haven't seen exorcisms play out the way they play out here in other parts of the world. Like I've never heard of like Japanese people being like possessed. I mean, not in that way. I mean, it's different. I don't know.
They're possessed by the power of anime.
Like other cultures don't have exorcisms like we like in the Christian like text, basically. They don't look the same.
I have a theory for that.
What is it?
Christianity is cruel and based upon torture and destroying multiple people, so of course other cultures don't have.
Okay, so when another culture someone gets possessed, excuse me, how do they get unpossessed there, huh? How do they do it?
They call a Catholic priest, because the Buddhists ain't gonna play with that. The Buddhists are gonna be like, shut up, and slap you and be like, you're faking.
Oh my god. Anyway, I'm conflicted because I believe in exorcisms, but now that you have said this, I guess I could like go back in my head and think about it some more. But not just that. There's also the inner conflict of like if you believe like Jesus was real, and you believe what the like Bible text taught, then you should believe there's a counterpart to good, and that is evil, and it is specifically, like named as the devil, and so
Yeah.
there's also that. Like that's the thing. Like,
I don't really follow the Bible.
I mean, but you don't even have to like follow that thing to a T, right? Like if you even just believe Jesus was a real person, like it's as far as you have to go. That's it. Then you must.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, that's exactly what it should be. However, a lot of people like to say no,
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 but
intolerant.
what I'm saying is, what do you say? Right? Because you told me that you thought he was
Um,
real, and what I'm saying is, if you think that, you must have believed at least one of the things he said, and I'm sure he mentioned the
oh
devil.
yeah, the one thing I believe is you should treat people with goddamn respect.
I think you just wanna have Jesus in your head as this kind of like role model figure, but he's really amorphous, and you don't really listen much to what he says as much as you look at what he did.
What's amorphous? What does that mean?
Amorphous, like he doesn't really have a shape or a face. It's just like,
Oh.
because clearly you're not going by his words, but rather by his actions, and kind of using him as a role model for how people should behave, which I think is fair. But am I right?
I mean, sort of. Did Jesus say that you should hate gays? Because that the Bible like
He did
kind
right
of
here. It's on page
almost said that.
311.
Wait, in the devil's book or the Bible?
No, I'm kidding. Girl, the devil's book is like gay all the way.
The devil himself is gay. Like, let's be real here. He's flaming.
Oh my god. Honestly, like if you look at this picture closely, it kind of looks like RuPaul.
Oh
So
my god. Maybe that was just a prediction of RuPaul.
oh my god. Everyone, I'm kidding. That was a joke. Don't
We
come
love
from me
RuPaul.
with your. Oh my god. Okay, listen, you RuPaulers. So that's the Codex Gigas. Those are the tangents that I wanted to go into.
I find it so fascinating, though. I want you to tell me more.
I mean, what do you want to know? Tell me.
I don't know. I want to know what else is in it. Like, what did the devil say?
Well, that's the thing. Like, we know if we found those fucking pages, most likely,
Okay.
because that's probably what it contains. Some kind of devil message or something. Like, honestly,
no, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say that when I really think about it, I think honestly, when I first read this, the first thing that came to mind was, well, the devil did write this thing in one fucking night. Also, the reason that like the one night thing is said is because like not only is it the same penmanship, so that proves that it was one person, but you could say, oh well, it was one person over 20 years. But see, that's the thing, it's not only the same penmanship, but it's also the same ink. It's also, what was I gonna say, the writing doesn't show signs of aging or like disease, and I don't mean the book itself, but rather it doesn't show signs that like the writer took breaks in between. Like it all has, because like people when they get older, they don't write as good or whatever, or like I don't know, like your tactile sense changes when you're writing. Your scripting might not always look exactly the same the way you write letters, and so that doesn't show any of this. And for someone to have written it across a span of 25 years, which is what it would have taken someone normal, it's a regular person, to make this thing, it would show something. It would show some variation throughout the years as to how this guy pens.
I feel
And it
like I'm
doesn't
prone
have
to
that.
believe it was probably written in a night because I participated in NaNoWriMo, and let me tell you, people go ham.
But anyway, so because of that, I believe that it was the devil who wrote it. And when I first read this article, what I thought was, well, yeah, the devil fucking wrote it. There was something in those 10 pages. The monastery saw this the next morning. They took that shit out and kept it away somewhere. And now the book is on display. That's what I think. So I do think the devil says something in this Bible. We'll just never know because those pages are missing. But what else is on it? It's just just a regular Bible, but it's just very big and colorful, and it does have that image of like heaven on one page and then the devil on the next, like crouching. What was I gonna say? I wonder why that wasn't taken out. If I'm right, and the reason the other pages were taken out was because the church deemed them like dangerous or whatever. I wonder why this thing wasn't taken out.
What did heaven look like exactly?
The thing is kind of discolored a little, kind of old, but it just looks like a bunch of it looks like a bunch of like cloud steps on both sides, like cloud stairs. I don't know, and like on every stair there's like people. I don't know, must be some saints or something.
Yeah.
Again, old drawing, but yeah, I wonder like why that wasn't taken out. I wonder why the text on exorcisms wouldn't be taken out to display it today. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that really fascinating. That's all really interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I don't really have anything to argue with.
No, that's good. I'm glad that you were like I don't
I'm
know,
on board. Can we summon the devil? Also, I want to point out, Andre,
no.
this is really important. You
What?
said that the book, it requires 2 people to open it, so like you
Yes.
have to go with me. Like I can't go alone.
I do to look at it, but we're not summoning anything.
No,
and
but
I'm
you
not
have to help me open it too, so we can at least read it.
with latex gloves. I will.
I don't think latex gloves can
but,
protect you from the devil.
Yeah. I'm glad that you were like mesmerized by this. That's good. I certainly was. That's why I like proposed researching it for my thing.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Anyway, what you got?
Okay, what do I have? What a great question. So, you know that I changed my subject, so I'm not going to say what that other subject was, just in case I ever do get around to it. However, I hope you're ready for this, because your reaction can go either way. So,
Okay.
what I'm going to be talking about is called the Malleus Maleficarum, and that translates from Latin to the Hammer of Witches. Yeah. Alright, so,
okay.
this is really common, and it's really interesting. So this was actually the most infamous manual for hunting witches. Yeah, it's a manual. So, anyway, it was originally written in Latin, and it is written by 2 men named James Springer and Henry Kramer, which we don't really know that much about them, which was interesting.
Wait, this was written in Latin by someone with the last name
Yes.
Kramer?
America. Wait, no, this was in England, actually, but yeah. What?
Is this antique?
Yeah, it's old. It's really old.
Is it old?
Super old. I think, let's see. I mean, at least 300 years old. Yeah, at least. Maybe more than that. I actually don't know how time works, and I'm really bad at math, so maybe it's even more than that. I don't know. Okay. So, the Malleus Maleficarum was in use for 300 years, mostly in England and parts of Europe, basically as a guide for people who were hunting witches or had thought that they had encountered a witch. And the reason it's kind of interesting that we don't know much about the authors, James and Henry, is because, like, I mean, first of all, where did they get all this information? And did you hear that? Okay, never mind, there was an alarm. Where did they get all this information, and why are they such freaking misogynists? Like, this is kind of where I delve into the whole witchcraft and misogyny thing, because it's really deep in this manual, specifically. It's crazy. It's, like, so insane. Like, these guys were just... They were not fans of women at all. And so, thousands upon thousands of people, mostly women, were murdered as a result of this book. It contains procedures for the detection and persecution of witches. As a whole, it demonstrates how, like, barbaric the whole, like, witch hunting thing really was. Like, even, I mean...
Unless witches were real.
Hello. Unless witches were real. In which case, I hope the witches fucking disembowel these motherfuckers. Like, I hope that's why we don't know anything about them, is because they were murdered by witches.
But wait a second, like, if they were real, don't they deserve punishment?
I don't know. I guess it just depends on what side you're on, because, like, not everything the witches were doing was super bad. Sometimes they would just make someone fall ill for a few months so that they could get a few days off. You know what I'm saying? Like, who hasn't... No, just kidding, I haven't done that. Like, it really just varies, because sometimes they wouldn't do anything at all, you know, but people would still say that they're a witch just because they didn't like them, or because they were old, or they were, like, yelling at you to walk slower past their house or something, you know what I mean? Telling the kids to get off the lawn. Well, she's just a witch, kids. We're gonna burn her. So, I mean, and yeah, if you believe that they were capable of, like, cursing people and killing them, then maybe. But also, the death penalty is something that we should probably talk about eventually. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay.
All right. So the Malleus Maleficarum is sectioned into 3 parts. These 3 parts are relatively huge too. Like there's probably over 10 chapters in each one. I read part of it, not a lot. I read a couple chapters from each part. So the first is just a summary and interrogation into the existence of witches. So like if there are witches, why and how do they become witches, and kind of talking about how they meet the devil and stuff like that. And because that's basically the canon of all this, is it has to be the devil. Like if something bad's going on, you just blame the devil in this time apparently. And then the second part is what the witches are capable of doing, so that part's really interesting. And then the third part is all about the prosecution and how to decide if a woman is actually guilty of witchcraft, or man, because there were a lot of men. So yeah, it's a fully intensive manual.
Wow.
And it lasted for a long time too. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I kind of already said like a lot of these accusations were they were not on the basis of anything valuable. They were on the basis of jealousy or financial gain. They were due to
I mean, give me an example.
Well, I don't have like a specific name, for instance, but like a woman would be accused of killing her husband for money or whatever, and so they would like say she's a witch, but that's not like
did she kill the husband though, even if she's not a witch?
I don't know, because if you think about it, like our forensics and detective work isn't even that good now. So how good must it have been back then, Like I guess because oftentimes what would happen is the person would fall ill, and in this time, like everyone was sick all the time. So it was just like it felt more like it was blaming someone for something that would have happened anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, so on this page. Sorry, I'm reading. I did all my research on Tuesday because I thought it was Wednesday, and then I texted you and you were like, today's Wednesday, like we're not recording. I was so confused. Okay. Oh, okay, so, this is, when I talk about how, like, Springer and, the other guy were kind of horrible human beings, what I mean is to say, like, in terms of, like, the manual telling you how to detect witches, one of the common ways someone would find out if a woman was a witch is the water test, and so here's what they would do. You've heard of this, right?
Yeah.
If you throw a witch into the water and she floats, then she's a witch. If she sinks, she's innocent. So, I mean, nowadays we know everyone floats in the water. So, it's basically just a for sure way to be like, this woman is a witch, she floats. And if she just sinks to the bottom of the ocean, it's like, oops, we made a mistake, sorry guys.
Okay, wait a second though. Does everyone float? I feel like the answer is yes because science, but I just know some people that like, I guess they're just very bad at floating, so I think that they can't float.
As someone who learned how to swim at age 19, I feel like anyone can do it if they're trying hard enough. I understand, like, because like I'm really afraid of water, even though I know how to swim now. So like thrashing around and panicking will definitely make you like sink because you don't really know what the hell you're doing. But I don't know. It's still so dumb. Like it's just dumb.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay, noted. So all the people that I thought couldn't float, like physically couldn't float, I'll stop thinking they're witches now because I held that belief this whole
Andre,
time.
I can't believe you. Have we ever gone swimming together?
No, but I don't want to do it out of fear that you will float.
You're gonna have to kill me.
What am I
You're
gonna
gonna have to burn me at the stake. Alright, so also common misnomer. A lot of them were hung. They weren't burned at the stake. I think we get that from Salem or something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I don't know that many, like even in Salem, like isn't I read that somewhere that like that was still super uncommon.
Right, and Salem was like not even as intense as in Europe, because in Europe it happened for like a long time, like I think like 80 years of witch hunts at one point or something. Whereas Salem was just very small, but America likes to think that they're the center of the universe, even though they haven't existed that long.
Yeah, I think that's why. Like that's the biggest place where it happened here, but like really at a world scale, it wasn't that big.
So another dumb way to find out if a woman was a witch is if she had a strange mark anywhere on her body. Anywhere. So if at first you don't find it on her arm, better undress her. So, like, literally anything. Like a birthmark, a mole. If she scratched herself, like, that's all proof that she's a witch. So it's kind of just like finding anything arbitrary to be like, do you see? I
Oh my
was right.
god. Wait, okay, so these guys are basically responsible for like the
Thousands of
deaths of
people.
like hundreds of, not
Yeah,
thousands of
exactly.
women.
And they give
Wow.
0 fucks. And it's
And why did people believe them? Like, do they have some kind of credential that made them believable or something?
I don't think it's necessarily that, because we don't know much about them, so I can't really say. I think it's because it was the first time anyone had written anything about this, and in such an extensive way. Like, they quote the Bible and a lot of like philosophers of their time, so I think maybe with that backed up, like, and like, I don't know if people were that intelligent back then. Like, yeah, like,
Yeah, that's fair. Most people were didn't know
yeah,
how to
and if
read or
you're
write.
having people say like this is all based upon the Bible, which is like the text that they live their entire life by to make mowing the fields and taking care of the cows meaningful, like, yeah.
Hey,
So,
fuck
huh?
you, okay? Cows are nice.
Okay, I
Um,
have cows in my freaking field like once a year, okay? They eat our fields and we don't bother them. It's fine. It's chill.
is it when I was in college? I'll see if anyone guesses like where I went to college. I hung out with the
You
cows
went to
sometimes.
college?
Well,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
I know you can't tell just by listening to me. That's fair, but I did surprisingly. And where I went, there was a field where there were like a bunch of like cow pens. Is that what you call it?
I guess,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes I just went there. Like it was nice.
I'm glad that you enjoyed that.
So yeah.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
so to kind of build upon the misogyny, there are several chapters in the Malleus Maleficarum that speak of, and I quote, the wickedness of women, end quote. So, and they use phraseology like that a lot, you know, and it's like, can you not? Anyway, whatever, it's fine. We'll get ours someday. It's fine. So,
Oh my god, were these guys like the first literate incels? So they were able to like pen something in order to like fuck everyone because they
I don't
weren't
know.
getting
I
laid or
really wish we
something?
knew more about them. I genuinely wish, but it's fine.
Also, incels don't come for me. Or do. I don't know.
Alright, so in
Go
explaining
ahead.
why there are more female witches than men, they stated, and this is another direct quote, when a woman thinks alone, she is evil. So they're basically saying, like, just in general, women are evil, just so you know. And here's another quote. The natural reason is that she is more carnal than a man, and this is clear from her many carnal abominations. So, I mean, we all know at the beginning of time, we're talking, like, even with, like, the Bible story Eve, like, women just like corrupt men, like these dumb bitches, and their beauty. Like, why? Like, we should just kill them, like, right? Like, they're just so evil. Like why? Okay, fine.
I mean, listen, when my mom goes into her room alone and then like 10 minutes later like comes out yelling at me and my siblings, listen, I don't know what went on in there, but that's evil right there.
I'm sorry that happens to you. Okay, so I specifically picked this one out just for you, Andre. So this is a question, which is question number 10. And
yes, David Archuleta is
oh
gay.
my god.
Yes.
Thank you for answering. That's not my question. The first part is each chapter is numbered by questions, just so you know. So question 10 is, can witches, by some glamour, change men into beasts? And since we were talking about skinwalkers last episode, I figured you would enjoy this. And this also kind of ties into like what the devil is capable of, because as we know, like, supposedly witches get their power from the devil and doing pacts with the devil, but we can get into that more later. So, what these fine gentlemen have to say is that the devil can deceive the human fancy, but cannot actually transform man. The devil moves perception so that a man appears to himself and others as a beast, but is still a man. So what they kind of were saying is that only God is capable of truly transforming someone, but the devil, even though he can't do that, he can change your perception. And so
Well,
maybe,
do you
yeah,
mean
maybe,
physically transform?
right, like he can't physically transform them, but he can make you think that you have.
He can make someone else think that that person has been transformed, or he can
Yeah,
make the person who has quote unquote been transformed think they've been transformed.
both. Like
Ah.
both, either or at the same time, not at
So
the
you were
same
saying
time.
that
So
maybe
it's
skinwalkers are just people who like have a pact with the devil, so the devil like makes them seem like something to other people in order to scare those people, but really in the physical real world they don't look like that.
yes, sort of. So not necessarily that they had to have had a pact with the devil, but maybe a witch had a pact with the devil that allowed her to choose someone to have this experience as like a punishment or
Mm.
something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the actual like skinwalker could be like a fucking hologram, is what you're saying.
Just yeah, that what you're seeing is what the devil wants you to see, basically.
But no one actually has to be there in order to like scare you. Basically, it
Or
could be something that was sent by like someone in order to scare
in
someone.
theory, I mean, it's really like it could be anything you want. Like the person could actually be there, but since they see themselves as a monster, they're acting like one or whatever, and then the person also sees them a monster, but then someone drives by and they just see two people screaming at each other. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Wow, that'd be
yeah, it's just a
interesting.
method of perception, I guess, is what they were trying to say.
Hmm.
So it says that the devil can alter the perception of both the waking and the sleeping, and then direct quote, therefore man does not sin in these various transformations unless he, at his own will, consents to the sin. So, in a way, what it's saying is that the man who is experiencing these transformations, or at least thinking that he is, has already consented to it in some way, like believing that he's a monster. So like that kind of ties into like skinwalkers, like they murder someone to become a monster, you know? And so that perception
Mm,
kind of just ties back into it. But I don't know how magic
that's
works,
some
so
interesting shit.
if it's real.
Um, I like that. That's very interesting. That's an interesting angle
Yeah,
you
I
took there.
mean, we can thank these misogynists for it, but so in part
Okay.
2 of the Malleus Maleficarum, there is a lot of focus on how the devil gets a woman's consent to becoming a witch and what she's capable of thereafter. You know, that real good juicy stuff. So
Mhm.
I kind of read through it and I wrote down
Yeah.
the stuff that I found interesting that they think witches are capable of doing, and I would like to read it to you. Are you ready? So a witch can
Okay.
raise
Yes.
hail
Yes.
slash thunderstorms. Yeah, like she has control over the weather. Can you imagine
Mm.
blaming a woman for the thunderstorm? Anyway, it's fine. Here's another thing that she does. She can cause sterility in men and animals. So if your man ain't producing any seed, your woman's a witch, guys.
That's crazy. Like they literally are pinning anything bad on them. Like
Yeah,
your crops didn't grow this season because of rain. Fucking witches.
right?
You can't get it up. Witch.
Witch. Anyway, okay, so it gets a little bit darker. They apparently eat children and sacrifice kids to the devil. I do like
I mean, I have heard
I
that
do like
one.
the caveat here though, because I didn't know about this until I read this. Apparently, a witch cannot eat a baptized child, so that's why she normally goes for the babies.
Mm. I mean, that does
She
make
needs the
sense, doesn't
sauce.
it? I mean, your baptism should serve you for something.
All right. She can make animals go mad, which is actually pretty common in terms of when you're accusing a witch. Is your animals go crazy around her, like the horse jumps and neighs, whatever.
I mean, that's not like a crazy one because people nowadays, I mean, I certainly believe that animals can see things that humans can't. Like
Hmm.
if you think ghosts or stuff like that. Um, yeah, like some kind of extrasensory
Yeah,
perception.
I can buy into that.
Yeah, so got that.
Okay, so then this one was actually interesting. So there's claims that witches can transport themselves via flying and teleportation. However, I say that like they don't actually use the word flying and they don't use the word teleportation. So that's kind of me just interpreting it because what they said was like they can transport themselves through the air, which I guess would be fine, but they're not specific about how. Like, I don't know how the broomstick mythology got thrown in there, you know, because it doesn't actually say that.
I mean, probably because of this. I mean, one, I don't think they would mean teletransportation. I don't even think the concept of something like that was in the zeitgeist 300 years ago.
Yeah.
So they probably meant, and I know it's confusing because it says through the air, but I think they just meant like they're in the sky, like birds, basically. And if you believe that, it's not like a far stretch from that point to be like, well, maybe they use some kind of instrument to do it, like a fucking, I don't know, like a broom.
Yeah.
And that's probably how that got started.
Okay, and then the teleportation, it said something along the lines of they could imagine themselves somewhere and then be there, but I wasn't sure if that was teleportation or, like we talked about before, astral projection.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought the only thing was like the through the air thing.
Yeah.
No, if it does say that too, then yeah, okay, no, yeah, that makes sense. That could definitely be interpreted as teletransportation, but I don't think that's it. I think it's that what you mentioned earlier.
And then another one, just to run out of time, gotta get zippity. They can implant future visions into others. They can cause abortion by touch. Oh, I found that one. It's interesting. I live in a really conservative town, so I can just imagine.
Can you imagine like how much like budget would be saved in equipment by like Planned Parenthood if they just hired witches?
Just give it a good touch. Alright, so why this... Sorry, I don't mean to mock anyone's taste.
Aborted babies don't come for us.
Yeah, don't come for us, please. In any form. Okay, so why does the devil want this to happen? Like, why give her all this power, you know? So, I guess one explanation that they talk about is that, as we've already discussed, like, only God can enter a man's heart, you know, and let him in or whatever. So the devil can't do that. So he has to find another way to corrupt man. So why not say to someone like, hey, I want to make a pact that can give you power. I can help you get rid of your mean boss who's always hitting you with a stick. Like,
yeah.
So yeah.
Probably literally, yeah, back then. Interesting. So the devil's a parasite. Now, can men be witches?
Yeah, they can, absolutely. I think...
Was it only used for the gays or something?
No, it's mostly anyone who didn't conform to society's standards. So maybe gays, I don't know. Like, any guy or woman who just didn't really fit in quite right, you know? Like, they say a lot of them were mentally ill or that they were senile because a lot of them were old, and so, like, people didn't know how to deal with those things, so they just decided they were witches. And, yeah.
That's so sad.
Really is sad. So I want to tell a few stories to kind of make this even scarier, because I don't know, when we're talking about sacred texts, like, it's not scary enough. So I looked into some things, and I have one story of, basically, these are both stories of stuff that have come out of these witchcraft accusations, and they're really short. So without further ado, so one of the common ways to end a curse a witch has placed on you, or at least the belief of how to do this, is to draw her blood, either with consent or without. And so this story happened in England in 1875, and it's not just a story, like, this is a real thing. So I don't know if you've heard of something called hag writing. It's a common term to blame witches for your sleep paralysis, essentially, because now we know that it's sleep paralysis. So yeah, it's called hag writing. A hag is writing you, essentially. So, yeah. 72-year-old Hester Adams in England in 1875, and her husband heard a spirit making horrible noises in their bedroom at night. She suffered from sleep tears and was unable to move. And this happened for 2 years. Like, she suffered from the whatever this is for 2 years. And for some reason, she believed that a young woman was responsible for it. Oh, Maria. I can't read what I wrote her last name, but yeah. So her name was Maria, and she believed Maria to be a witch and that she was responsible. So what did Hester Adams do? She drew that blood. Let me tell you what she did, Andre. She stabbed Maria in the face.
Oh my god.
She stabbed her in the face, and guess what? This went to court because Maria didn't die, and they decided that all Adams was to be held accountable for was to pay 1 shilling.
Oh my! How much is that?
I don't know, but it's not a lot apparently.
Yeah.
Because they took this witch stuff seriously, and they just assumed like, hey, she was trying to defend herself. It's like you stabbed a girl in the face, but you know she was 72. I don't know. It's fine. It's not fine. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, the 1800s were fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
absolutely.
I mean, what can I say? Yeah, I think that was, I think that anger was misplaced, probably.
Okay, so the next one is actually from the Malleus Maleficarum. It's in part 2, chapter 7, and the title is "How, as it were, they being the witches, deprive man of his virile member." If you think that sounds dirty, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Ready? I'm just gonna read it, and I might skip a little bit, but here it is. So this is from them. We have already shown that they can take away the male organ, not indeed by actually despoiling the human body of it in the manner which we have already declared, and of this we will instance a few examples. So in the town of Ratsabon, a certain young man who had intrigued with a girl, wishing to leave her, lost his member. That is to say, some glamour was cast over it so that he could not see or touch nothing but his smooth body. In his worry over this, he went to the tavern to drink wine, and after he had sat there for a while, he got into conversation with another woman who was there, and told her of the cause of his sadness, demonstrating in his body that it was so. The woman asked whether he suspected anyone, and when he named such a one, she said, "If persuasion is not enough, you must use some violence to induce her to restore you your health." So, in the evening, the young man watched the way by which the witch was in the habit of going, and finding her, prayed her to restore to him the health of his body. And when she maintained that she was innocent and knew nothing about it, he fell upon her, and winding a towel tightly about her neck, choked her, saying, "Unless you give me back my health, you shall die at my hands." Then she, being unable to cry out, and growing black, said, "Let me go, and I will heal you." The young man then relaxed the pressure of the towel, and the witch touched him with her hand between the thighs, saying, "Now you have what you desire." And the young man, as he afterwards said, plainly felt, before he had verified it by looking or touching, that his member had been restored to him by the mere touch of the witch. So,
did this girl die?
No, it doesn't say, and it's written by these dudes. So, like, I think what we can all gain from this is that this man was so freaking emasculated that he imagined that his dick was gone.
I mean, also the woman who gave me this advice. Really, what I was taking out of this was like, people like,
yeah,
people were fucking stupid. Like, but like, also you can't really blame them because like, what kind of fucking resources did people have before?
be a
like,
dick.
I don't know. No, but still, like, but it's so easy to fall into like hive mentality when you're just, your average Joe. It's not justified, but what I'm saying is, it's not justified, but it is understandable because people were just fucking stupid because no one knew anything. How has humanity like,
I don't know,
like stayed like a thing
believing
this
in witches
long?
gave
You know what I
him
mean?
permission
Like,
to like
I
almost
don't
choke this
know.
woman to death. And like when people think about how like, well, why would a woman give a false confession to being a witch? Well, this is why. She didn't want to die. Like, if someone's choking you, of course you're gonna be like, "Wait, I can heal you. I can do it. I swear. Just stop choking me." Jesus Christ.
So instead, she'll now die, but by drowning.
Exactly. Throw her into the water. But it's just so crazy, and it's like, yeah. So this is why I find the whole witch thing very fascinating, because it's just really brutal and it's really fucked up, but it's also like, it really demonstrates a type of psychology that I find fascinating, where like people will give false confessions, which are really interesting, just to like survive, because
I mean, is that not like general knowledge? Like, if you're in, if you're in trouble, you're gonna lie.
Really not, because I listen to a lot of true crime because it's interesting, and like people, like, you read comments and stuff, people are like, well, if they confess, they must be guilty, blah blah blah, and it's like, well, actually, no, that's not true. Like, that's absolutely not true. Like, there's a lot of influences at work.
I don't think people actually think that, though. I think people are being intellectually dishonest when they say that. I think that they're not actually putting themselves in that person's shoes, and they know that if they were in their shoes they would do the same thing, but they don't want to say that, probably because believing that that person did tell the truth in their confession is probably beneficial to that person that is like talking about it in the present, to like make a point or
So it's
something.
all
I feel
for
like
the
that's
sake of
usually what it
like
is.
not losing an argument, basically. Oh, I
Yeah,
just hate
I
that so
feel like that's
much.
usually what
Anyways,
it
like
is.
I'm
Yes,
fascinated by psychology, so that's essentially why I
that's
like
even worse. Yeah.
reading about the witch stuff. Also, like I just find the devil really fascinating because, like, for me, it's just like a boogeyman people like to scare themselves with, and that's just really interesting. But yeah, I love horror. So what do you think? What do you think of all this?
I think that that book fucked a lot of people up, and it was probably like very unfairly used for a long time. I thought the stabbing
Yeah.
was fucking crazy. I agree with you on the confessions thing. That it does not like give you what you want. It is not effective. It does not give you the truth. Torture seldom works in order to like get
Oh, you should
info.
also actually look it up because it's all online, the entire book. Um, and there's like a couple
I
chapters on
will.
exorcism. I didn't really talk about a lot of it because it was kind of all stuff that we already know, but I think you might like it. And I didn't talk about the Devil's Pact because I feel like we've talked about that a little bit in episode 1. But yeah, it's so packed full of interesting
Yeah.
stuff about the devil. So
Yeah, I'll look it up. That's pretty good. Thank you for spooking me, Shannon.
oh, you're welcome. I'll spook you any day.
Okay, sisters. Hello, everyone. We have spooked you tonight. We've given you what you needed. We've given you what you came here for. So, if you have any suggestions for next episode, please do let us know. You can DM us on Twitter at TalkScary. We are also on all podcast listening platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can find us anywhere as Scary Talk Podcast. And till next week,
If you would
Shannon.
like to
Anything
hear more
else?
about the Spice Girls, so would I.
Go to Spice Girls. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Advice: do not eat any large meals before bed. I always say this. It's like such a real thing for me. Like it fucks with my sleep. Shannon, anything?
My sleep is already fucked up, so I don't really know what to do about that. I do want to say thank you for listening, guys. It's really cool that we have so many listens and people who want to listen. I know I'm practically half disassociated these entire episodes, so I don't think I let my gratitude show earlier on.
someone oh, this is I want to read this to you. So someone left us a review in Apple Podcast that I liked, that I thought was sweet. I'm gonna
You
read it
can
to you
read
now.
the reviews? I don't even know how to do that.
I'll
Anyway, hi!
just send them when I find them. But someone said the review is called Amazing Chemistry.
Oh my
Um
god, we have
and
chemistry!
I know. Can you believe that? And it is 5 stars. It's the review says, "Love the two co-hosts. They have amazing chemistry together and make me laugh every episode. I learned something new at the same time. Loved episode 3 and 7. Look forward to the new one every Tuesday morning. Keep up the great work."
I swear to God, if one of your friends wrote this.
No. So thank you, reviewer, for that review. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
That's
cool.
all I got.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, everyone, sleep tight. Do keep your feet on the bed so the devil doesn't grab but like by the end of the bed, you don't want that. It's happened to me.
Make a deal with the devil, sell
I
your
mean,
soul,
if he
please.
does like wake you up and you're already woken up because he grabbed your feet by the end of the bed, then you might as well like talk to him, make something happen. He's already there. So, and yeah, he doesn't come.
Open your
Yeah,
heart.
he doesn't come by often. Literally open your heart and then give your soul.
Oh my god, we're terrible people. It's fine. Okay.
Everyone, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Good night.
Bye bye.